Episode 6 of 10 explores tactical flexibility. Previously, we examined foreknowledge and its power. Today, learn the wisdom of flowing like water and adapting your tactics to strike at weaknesses. Let us begin. For centuries, leaders have come to me to understand conflict. But today, we're not going to talk about massive armies or powerful weapons. No, we're going to talk about something far more powerful, the commander's mind, and how you can shape victory not with raw power, but with pure, simple adaptation. You know, it's a strange thing, but your greatest victory, it can become your biggest weakness. I've seen so many commanders destroyed by their own success. They think they found some magic formula that will always work. And that right there is a field trap. The field of battle, and this goes for business, for life, for anything, it's never the same twice. Your opponent learns, the ground beneath your feet shifts. To cling to what worked last time, well, that's just setting yourself up for failure. So, first things first, you have to understand a fundamental truth about our world. Nothing is fixed. Everything is in a state of endless, flowing change. I mean, just look at nature. The moon changes its shape every night. The seasons, they always give way to the next. A warfare is exactly the same. There are no constant conditions. So a commander who marches out with just one rigid plan, that's like trying to cross a river that changed its course yesterday. You see, he's already lost before he's even begun. Okay, so if everything's always in flux, how do you possibly get a grip on it? How do you command the uncommandable and find victory? The answer isn't carved in stone, it flows. The wise commander doesn't try to be a rock, they strive to be like water. The beauty of this idea is just how simple it is. Seriously, just watch water. It doesn't swam itself into a mountain trying to break it, of course not, it just flows around it. It doesn't argue with the terrain, it uses the terrain to find its path. And that is exactly what a strategist must do. You have to shape your victory based on the enemy you are actually facing. This is the highest level of command, being formless, being fluid, and just relentlessly adaptive. So the first big takeaway from this whole water metaphor is the power of having no predictable shape. I call this concept formlessness. Think about it. If your enemy can't figure out your formation, if they can't see your shape, how can they ever launch an effective attack? They can't. When you hide your plans, when you're unpredictable, you're safe from the cleverest spies and the wisest generals. True mastery is being so unpredictable that your enemy can't even begin to understand your strategy, let alone try to counter it. And the difference is, well, it's night and day. The rigid general, he's like a big stone statue. He's easy to study, totally predictable, and ultimately very easy to shatter. But the adaptive general, they're like a phantom made of mist, always shifting, always changing. So I ask you, how can you possibly fight an enemy you can't find and you can't understand? Now, the second lesson that water teaches us isn't just about how you apply your force. It's about how you choose your path. It sounds so simple, but this is everything. Avoid what is strong. Strike at what is weak. Why would you waste your energy, your forces, attacking a fortified wall head-on? It's like waves crashing against a cliff. It achieves nothing. The smart commander, though, they look for the undefended path, the weak spot, that moment of hesitation. You find the path of least resistance. That's how you save your own strength and completely shatter the enemies. And really, this choice is what defines a commander. Anyone can use brute force. It's the mark of a lesser mind. It just exhausts your people and basically invites defeat. Superior strategy, on the other hand, is all about conserving your energy, flowing to your opponent's weakest points. And you know what? That is how victory is guaranteed before the real fight even starts. And when you put these two ideas together, being formless and striking at weakness, you build this unstoppable momentum. By constantly adapting, by flowing, you gather your strength, just like water behind a dam. Then, at the perfect moment, aimed at the enemy's most vulnerable spot, you let it all go. And that onrush, it's so powerful that nothing can possibly stand in its way. When a reader truly masters these principles, when they can move just like water, they earn the highest title of respect I can give, the heaven-born captain. This is the absolute pinnacle of strategic leadership. This kind of commander isn't just reacting. They're flowing with the situation, creating victory from the enemy's own moves. Once they've truly understood the way of water, they basically become a force of nature themselves. The skill of a general like this is almost invisible. When they defend, it's like they've disappeared into the deepest parts of the earth. But when they attack, they burst forth like lightning from a clear sky. They win because they don't make mistakes. They secure a position where defeat is literally impossible. Victory is a sure thing because they are fighting an enemy who, thanks to better positioning, is already beaten. But here's the real paradox of true mastery. The greatest victories aren't the bloody, hard-won battles that everyone talks about. No, the greatest victories are the ones that look easy, so skillful, so perfect, that to an outsider, it looks like it was no big deal. A victory like that doesn't make you famous. You get no credit for courage. Why? Because the battle was already won before it ever really began. And you have to understand, these ideas go so far beyond the battlefield. The terrain of your own life is constantly changing. Your challenges, your competitors, your goals, those are your mountains and your valleys. Relying on what worked yesterday is as useless as using last year's map. So the real question for you isn't if you'll face mountains, you will. The only question is, how will you be like water? Let your tactics be fluid. In episode 7, harness the power of concentrated force to overwhelm your foes.
This has been another dispatch from the Dead Expert Society. The dead have spoken, but what say the living? Let us know below.